Good morning. I have to tell you, somewhat intimidating to follow the person that invented the internet. Was not expecting that one. But in all seriousness, I really appreciate you guys inviting me here today. I want to thank IEEE for giving me the opportunity to speak at the Leadership Forum and, more importantly, to talk to emerging leaders. And I'm also proud to work for Entergy, your platinum sponsor, and it's a company that believes in developing its leaders and providing them with opportunities to learn, grow, and succeed and advance, just like you guys are doing today. But I believe the journey to become an effective leader is never ending, because you can always learn something new to help you improve. It may be in the form of a person you meet, a book you've read, a struggle you've overcome, or a lesson you learned from a mistake that you made. But if you're really paying attention, you'll find that life is constantly trying to teach you things about becoming a better leader. I graduated from college approximately 30 years ago, and as I've reflected on my life and my personal experiences, I've often thought about what are some things that I wish someone would have told me as I was starting my career, and I come up with 4 of them. But what I hope to share with you today are some life lessons, some real life stories, and hopefully you can take this advice and it can help you further yourself as an emerging leader. But before I talk about those, I'd like to talk a little bit about leadership, what it means, what it does not mean, and the qualities and behaviors of an effective leader. Webster's defined leadership as the act of leading a group of people or an organization. But my definition is this: leadership is about influencing people, influencing behaviors, influencing performance, making informed decisions, and getting results. Leadership does not come from your position. Leadership does not have anything to do with your title. And a good manager is not necessarily a good leader. Effective leaders model qualities and behaviors, some of which are, and probably most importantly, they know and care about their people. They're good listeners, good communicators, they're open and trusting, they're transparent, they're competent. Effective leaders are not afraid to admit when they're wrong. They're direct. They're not afraid to give or receive corrective feedback. Effective leaders are generous with praise. They're accountable. They're engaged. They're not the smartest person in the room. And they, more importantly, allow their employees to take credit. But for me, the most important trait of a leader is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is defined as the capacity to be aware of, control and express emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. In a professional workplace, having emotional intelligence means self-awareness, being able to adjust your style to fit the situation, having social skills, and operating from a premise that 99% of the people are motivated and want to do a good job. The great thing about emotional intelligence is it's something that can be worked on and improved, just like other behaviors that can make leaders more effective. So now that I've covered leadership, I'd like to share with you some life lessons that I mentioned earlier. And this is how I've really gone through my life and has really impacted my career and helped me get to where I am today. 1, be nice to everyone, even the people you don't like, and particularly those that don't care for you. Life brings us many twists and turns, and the person on the bottom today may be the person on top tomorrow. And one thing that I've learned in my 51 years is that you never know who will be able to help you, or more importantly, who may end up being your boss. In June of 2002, I was named the city attorney for the city of New Orleans. I'm actually an attorney by trade. In that role, I had roughly 100 people working for me, to include lawyers and support staff. And on assuming that job, I had the ability to ask everyone to resign or terminate whoever I chose to. So in my first staff meeting, I explained to everyone that they were on probation, and they had to prove themselves worthy of continued employment, except for one person. That person had been employed by the city for a number of years. And that person, Larry Hand, was really flummoxed when I said in front of everyone in the room that he was the only person whose job was safe. So why was his job safe? Well, about 2 years before that, my wife had received a traffic ticket. I went down to traffic court to see if I could get it reduced to a non-moving violation. And at the time of that encounter, I didn't know Mr. Hand, and he didn't know me. Well, Mr. Hand happened to be the prosecutor that helped me with my wife's ticket those 2 years before. And he could not have been more courteous, kind, and professional when he did that. And 2 years later, that memory stuck in my mind, and he had totally forgotten about it. So as a result of his actions 2 years before, I told him that as long as I was the city attorney, he was guaranteed a job in my administration. My thought process was this: if he had been that professional and courteous to me, he probably treated every single person the very same way, especially in an environment where people are already upset that they're walking in there with a traffic ticket, they're already pissed, and they're looking for some type of relief. And for him to do that for someone he didn't know spoke volumes for me. So the moral of that story is this: treat everyone the way you want to be treated. Many of you are beginning your life journey and climbing that ladders of success. Leaders in your organizations will watch how you treat everyone in that organization, from the administrative assistants to the janitors. And believe it or not, how you treat the lowest people in the organization can play a role in you getting that next promotion. Because the boss's administrative assistant, believe it or not, always has his ear, and it has a level of influence that you would never believe. And more importantly, I can guarantee he values that administrative assistant's opinion. There's an old Alan Toussaint song. For those of you that are from New Orleans, you know about Alan Toussaint. He says, "People fly high, begin to lose sight. You can't see very clearly when you're in flight. It's high time that you found that the same people you misuse on your way up, you might meet up with on your way down. So be kind to everyone, because I can tell you from experience, it all comes back." Lesson number 2, value people, value relationships, and diversify your network. Before attending law school, I'd already completed 2 very important phases of my life that prepared me for the challenges I would be facing today and in my future career, and really shaped my values really shaped my opinions on the value of diversity in relationships. 1, I completed my undergraduate degree at Howard University, and then I was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Army and served as a military intelligence officer with the 101st Airborne at Fort Campbell. Air Assault? Got you. Hoo-ah. My service in the military was one of those life-changing experiences and made a very deep impression on me. The military is not only physically demanding, but also mentally demanding. The military showed me the importance of leadership, integrity, and the value of relationships, but more importantly, the value of diversity, not only of people, but of thought. I served with men and women from all over this country who represented the amazing diversity of our nation, and the strength that is inherent in our diversity. In the military, people of different races, creeds, socioeconomic backgrounds have to learn to work together to achieve a common goal. Individuals who may harbor racial animus are forced to live in close quarters, breaking down preconceived notions of behavior. Being a leader requires that you obtain the trust of those you have to lead. And in my opinion, the best way to obtain that trust is to demonstrate to people that you care, that you value them, you respect them, and you value their opinion. In my organization, I treat everyone as a trusted advisor, from the clerks to the vice presidents. The reason everyone is a trusted advisor is because everyone brings their unique backgrounds and experiences to every situation and every problem. As a leader, it has never been about me. It has always been about we. Just because you may be the smartest person in the room doesn't mean you have all the answers. I've learned that it's important to be exposed to backgrounds and viewpoints that are different from mine. Not being open to varying opinions and perspectives is like going through life with blinders on. I would argue that you really can't know what you believe unless you're compelled to define and defend your beliefs. In many ways, the people we disagree with are some of our best teachers. It's human nature to congregate with people who are very much like you. We tend to want to be around people who are just like us in terms of race, age, professional status, with experiences and perspectives that are similar to ours. When it comes to business and personal networking, you need to build a very, very diverse network because it's important that you consciously take the time to get to know people who are not like you. It's much harder to extend ourselves beyond our inner circle and connect with people who don't have the same interests. But I can tell you from experience, the more diverse your network is, the more opportunities you can create for yourself. At 52, I'm actually on my 5th career, and all of them were very different. But the one thread that ties them all together is the fact that every opportunity that I have ever been given was the result of a relationship that I cultivated years before. So be open to meeting and associating with people who aren't exactly like you. Lesson number 3, set goals for yourself and spend time with people who achieve those same or similar goals. When I was in my officer basic course, one of my colleagues, Paul Harris, had all of his goals, at least for the first 10 years of his life, written above his bed. So whenever you walked into his room, you knew what Paul's aspirations and plans were. I still remember those goals today, and he achieved them, including becoming the first African American elected to the Virginia State House from his hometown of Charlottesville, Virginia. That's a goal he set for himself about 10 years before he actually achieved it. Bringing it a little closer to home, in 2002, I actually set the goal for myself to become the president and CEO of Entergy New Orleans before I was 50. That same year, I sat down with the chairman of Entergy Corporation at the time and shared my aspirations, but I left out the part before I was 50. His words to me at the time were, if you keep working hard, continue to demonstrate a track record of success, when the time is right, you will get that opportunity. And in 2010, I did get that opportunity, achieving my goal 4 years before my self-imposed deadline. I didn't share that story to say, look at me. I'm telling you that story to say there were numerous people out there who helped me along this journey with their guidance, their advice, their mentorship, and more importantly, their friendship. During my career, I have had the benefit of having a number of mentors, all very successful in their own right. The one thing they all had in common is their desire to help people and the pleasure they have in seeing people that they have helped succeed. One thing that I've learned during my career is that successful people love to tell their stories, not because they're braggadocious, but because they want to share their experiences and wisdom in the hopes that you don't make the same mistakes that they made. And they love giving you the benefit of their experiences. So don't be afraid to ask a person you admire or a person who's been successful in your chosen field for a few minutes of their time so you can ask them how they got there. But more importantly, so you can ask them about their failures. because all successful people have failed at one time or another, and most see failure as a learning opportunity. Finally, lesson number 4. Be true to yourself and be of service to others. Both of my parents were educators who devoted their lives to helping young people realize their destiny by striving for excellence. Education was very important, but also so was listening with an open mind, learning how to get along with others, and understanding the importance of communication and cooperation. My mother and father taught me to believe in myself, but they also taught me that it was just important to be able to trust and believe in others, and to provide for those that are less fortunate. That strong bond with my parents was a source of empowerment for me growing up, and continues to help mold my relationships and my destiny to this day. The example they set for me gave me an incredible head start in life and many insights into the value of diversity, and I try to keep that in mind as my wife and I raise our 2 sons. I want them to learn to believe and trust in others too, and to value the importance of positive and empowering relationships in their lives. We also want to instill in them that it's important to be of service to others and that every person has value. There are many versions of success. Many people equate success with money, nice car, big house, power, nice title. But for me, true success comes from the number of lives you've touched and hopefully had a positive impact on. Mark Snyder, a psychologist and head of the Center for the Study of Individual and Society at the University of Minnesota, says, people who volunteer tend to have higher self-esteem, psychological well-being, and happiness. My parents told me from a young age, to whom much is given, much is expected, and when you give, you actually receive. While being of service, you may discover hidden talents that may change your perspective on your self-worth. Or if you're really lucky, you may discover your passion. For me, my greatest successes in life have been watching others that I've helped succeed. In our culture, we're raised to be very competitive and to see everything as a big competition. In life, you should look at the success of others that you have helped as your success, even if that success surpasses your success. Now, don't get me wrong, I am by no means saying that there's anything wrong with the pursuit of blind ambition, because I'm guilty of that myself. However, at the end of the day, your contribution to the world will be determined by something more than your car, the size of your house, or how much money you have in the bank. Ultimately, your life will be judged on how you enabled others to live their life. President Obama said, "Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope, and you will fill yourself with hope." The fact that you're here today means that you're interested in learning and leading, and those things definitely go hand in hand. Every experience you have, every person you meet, every obstacle you face is an opportunity to learn and discover new things about yourself and the world around you. But as you do, recognize there are no shortcuts to success, and hard work is required. So again, thank you for allowing me to speak to you today, for allowing me to take part in your Future Leaders Conference, and I hope my insights that I've shared with you today are helpful as you continue your life journey and your professional journeys. Thanks again. Woo! Thank you.